Well, my beautiful people, former Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi is throwing in the towel. Also, we're gonna go over this list of airports that's reducing their flights, and it's something that all these airports have in common that we're gonna talk about next on the Daily Rewind. What's going on, my beautiful people? What's going on out there? Welcome to the Daily Rewind with me, your boy HB. Hopefully, you guys had a good day today. Tomorrow is Friday. Looking forward to the weekend and getting it popping and all that good stuff. So, in tonight's show, we have two topics. We're going to talk about the airlines, the list of airlines that's pretty much that's reducing their flights, and we're going to talk about former Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi. But we're going to start off with the airlines. So according to the Associated Press, quote, these are the airports that will reduce flights during the government shutdown. The Federal Aviation Administration is forcing airlines to cut 10% of their flights at 40 of the busiest airports across the nation to reduce pressure on air traffic controllers during the ongoing government shutdown and ensure that flying remains safe. The cuts will start to take effect on Friday, tomorrow. Travelers should check with their airlines to see if their flights has been cut. Here is a list of airports affected. I'm going to go through the list for you guys. Okay, number one, Anchorage International in Alaska, Hartford-Jackson, Atlanta International in Georgia, Boston Logan International in Massachusetts, Baltimore and Washington International in Maryland, Charlotte Douglas International in North Carolina, Cincinnati/North Kentucky International in Ohio, Dallas Love Field in Texas, Ronald Reagan Washington National in Virginia, Denver International in Colorado, Dallas/Fort Worth International in Texas, Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County in Michigan, Newark Liberty International in New Jersey, Fort Lauderdale/Washington International in Florida, Honolulu International in Hawaii, Houston Hobby in Texas, Washington Dulles International in Virginia, George Bush Houston Intercontinental in Texas, Indianapolis International in Indiana, John F. Kennedy International in New York, Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas, Los Angeles International in California, LaGuardia Airport in New York, Orlando International in Florida, Chicago Midway International in Illinois, Memphis International in Tennessee, Miami International in Florida, Minneapolis/St. Paul International in Minnesota, Oakland International in California, Ontario International in California, Chicago O'Hare International in Illinois, Portland International in Oregon, Philly International in Philadelphia, Phoenix Sky Harbor International in Arizona, San Diego International in California, Louisville International in Kentucky, Seattle/Tacoma International in Washington, San Francisco International in Florida and California, Salt Lake City International in Utah, Teterboro in New Jersey. I haven't heard of that one. That must be one of the smaller ones. And Tampa International in Florida. When I look at this list, it's maybe it's me, but it seems like all these airlines that's affected is either in blue states or blue cities. Like it's a few that okay, but majority of the airports on this list is from blue states or cities or blue cities. I'm like, I wonder if this is intentional. That's how it's coming off. Like it's intentional. Because I'm like, majority of these airports are in blue states or blue cities. You know what? Ain't nobody gonna tell me differently. I believe this is done intentionally. I don't give a and that's the way I feel. On to the next. But so when it comes to this airport thing, like I've been stressing, hopefully you guys have a plan B. Travel by car if you have to. Make sure you check your airline flight status before going, because it's about to be a mess. If you could do train, do train. If you could travel by car, do car. But it's about to be a mess in the airport. It really is. It's about to be a mess. So hopefully you guys are patient if you have to fly, and hopefully everything is well. You could get from point A to point B. You have some airlines. A majority, what I read, majority on the airlines are giving your money back. For those, if your flight is canceled or stuff like that, you get your money back. That's what I read on some reports. So hopefully people can get their money back. They better. I mean, this is an inconvenience for everybody. Like they better compensate people. I mean, so this is crazy, man. On to the next. Former Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi is throwing in the towel after a long 40-year run. A long 40-year run. Got to give it up for her. Got to give it up. It's a long time. You know what I'm saying? But she's a figure. She's a powerhouse. That lady didn't play no games when it came to their house when she was the speaker. So, according to this NBC News article, following a legacy run, Nancy Pelosi to retire for Congress at the end of her term. Not to put too fine of a point on this, but officials with records like the California Democrat tends to have building named after them. Around this time 3 years ago, Representative Nancy Pelosi did something unexpected. The California Democrat announced that she would remain in Congress but stepped down as a party leader in the United States House, passing the torch to Democrat Representative Hakeem Jeffries of New York. 3 years later, the House Speaker Emirata is taking the next step. After almost 4 decades on Capitol Hill, Pelosi is retiring at the end of her current term. The nation's first woman to serve as House Speaker released a video on Thursday morning to announce that she is not seeking a 21st term in 2026. Quote, with a grateful heart, I look forward to my final years of service as your proud representative. End quote. She said in a message to her constituents in San Francisco, whom she celebrated in the nearly 6-minute clip. There will be plenty of speculation about who might succeed the Congresswoman in her Bay Area district, but for now, it's worth acknowledging the career of the most accomplished House Speaker in generations. Quote, Nancy Pelosi is an iconic, heroic, trailblazing, legendary, and transformational leader. Jeffrey said in a statement, she is the greatest speaker of all time, the New York Democrat added. The United States is a much better nation today because Nancy Pelosi dedicated her life to serving the children, the climate, the country, and the American people, end quote. As a regular reader know, it was Pelosi, first elected in 1987. She been in a long time. Hell, I was born in 85. So she got to Congress when I was a baby. That is a long time. Who passed the Recovery Act, which ended the Great Recession. It was Pelosi who ensured the Affordable Care Act become law. It was Pelosi who record includes historic legislative victories from everything from civil rights to Wall Street reform, student loan to COVID-19 recovery relief, climate change to infrastructure. Not to put too fine a point on this, but lawmakers and leaders with records like Pelosi tend to have buildings named after them. When the San Franciscan stepped down for her party's leadership a few years ago, then President Joe Biden said in a written statement, quote, his history will note she is the most consequential Speaker of the House of Representatives in our history, end quote. As Pelosi's career nears its end, there's no reason to consider that assessment hyperbolic in the slightest. She's going to be missed. One thing I could say about that Nancy Pelosi, she didn't play no games when it came to that House speakership and getting them votes. One thing that from the many people, the many stories that you read, and the many documentaries that you didn't view, they say former Madam Speaker did not play when it comes to the votes. She know how to whip them votes together. If she didn't have the vote, she did not bring the bill to the floor. She know how to whip them people in place. She know how to work that phone. She know do what she got to do to get them votes. She didn't play. And I think that that's something that Grinder Mike Johnson need to take heed of and take a page out of her book when it comes to whooping votes in place. She didn't play. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing about her. You got to give her respect. She been in Congress since 1987. She been a trailblazer. She been like people say Instagram. She been that girl. But yeah, hopefully she take the time and just chill now. She did her 40 years of service, so now she can go on, retire, spend time with her family, her loved ones, and just rest. And don't have to be dealing with the bull in Washington, D.C. Big up now, Nancy Pelosi. Now you can rest. Anyway, my beautiful people, I appreciate you listening to your boy. I would love for if you can like, subscribe, share, and I would love to have you over here at the Daily Rewind. Let's build this team together. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to build a team over here, and I would love to have you over here. You guys have a good day. Peace.